So this is Peter Posen with a segment of In Between. Today we're going to be talking about pyramids. Now in the land of Israel there's only a few pyramids that are mentioned in historical records. This particular one was not mentioned in a historical record, but it was excavated and be found one of the only standing pyramids in the land of Israel. This ancient city here was called Midrash, and it's in the hills close to where Emek HaElah, where David slew Goliath. So we're out here in the Shfilah, the foothills of the Judean mountains. And here we have our pyramid here. It is several meters high. It's a stepped stone, and it above a tomb from a nobleman. We're not sure who this person was.
This base is 10 meters by 10 meters, possibly 4 to 6 feet high in its original state. Early Roman period. This area called Midrash has some pottery from the Persian period. And this is the tomb beneath the structure above. Now pyramids, this is natural, made by nature. These are pyramids in China. Pyramids are in the shape of mountains. Now mountains in ancient culture were very important. Like Zeus had his Mount Olympus, the Canaanites had their Mount Siphon, and the high places we see are in the Old Testament. And here we have a variety of different pyramids. You have a pyramid in Egypt there, of Khufu, and then below that a tomb of King Kashta in Nubia. The Nubians ruled parts of Egypt at different periods of time, and so they copied the pyramids of Egypt. And then next to that is a mausoleum in China. King Mausolus created a large tomb in what's today is Turkey, and we get the word mausoleum from King Mausolus. It was one of the 7 wonders of the world. And then we also have ziggurats. Now ziggurats are not actual pyramids. Pyramids are markers. Here we have the Egypt, and here we have the Nubians. Their pyramids are a little bit sharper, and here we have a Greek, and also we have the Chinese. These are Chinese pyramids. Now the ziggurats were temples. They were not grave markers. Pyramids were used as grave markers. And this is in Iraq. These is called the Temple of Ur of Chaldees. And they would sacrifice animals and read their intros to prophesy. This is a illustration of what it could have been. And in South America, we also have ziggurats. You had the Mayans and the Aztecs. Of course, they did not sacrifice animals, they sacrificed human beings. Now, this was an excavation that's very recent. It's been written about as being a pyramid, but it's not really a pyramid. It's a pyramid type of structure. It was built on top of an old fortress. Now, this fortress guarded the roads along the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea is to the left there, so they had a crossroads, east and west, north and south. And someone put a structure on top of that. And here we are in the Kidron Valley in Jerusalem. This is Zechariah's tomb. You see a pyramid on the roof of this memorial. This is a monumental grave marker. Monumental meaning a monument to the person. It's believed that it may be. Josephus mentions 3 pyramids, and they're in the tomb of Queen Helena. Now, some people believe that this was one of the pyramids that Josephus mentions, but this is not actually a pyramid. It's just a monument with a pyramid on top. Now, this is, in Hebrew, it's called a nephesh. Nephesh means soul, and it can be next to a grave or above a grave. There is no grave beneath this. That's the interesting part about this, is that it's just a marker and not an actual grave underneath. Now, some people believe that it's actually the marker or the nephesh for the graves that are nearby. Off to the left and to the right, you have a series of different graves. You can see a doorway that goes to this grave off to the left. And so they believe that this is the nephesh for those graves that are carved into the side of the cliff. This is Jason's tomb to the west of the old city. It has a pyramid on top as well. Now we're back at Midrash. We have from the early Roman 2nd century BCE until Byzantine time, 8th century AD. And this is a rolling stone tomb. This tomb was destroyed by some religious zealots, but there's still a little bit here to see. Those are niches for the ossuaries, the bone boxes. And now we're going into the inner chamber. There you see an ossuary on the shelf there. There are 15 rolling stone tombs in this area, or cut tombs. Now this is believed to be the synagogue, and you have that raised platform which could have been the bima of the synagogue from the 1st or 2nd century AD. And nearby we have a cistern. Now these cisterns were reused as columbariums. Columbariums are places where the pigeons are raised for meat and eggs and fertilizer from the droppings. Now these are tunnels that went in between the cisterns to drain water from one cistern to another. This is a large cistern. And the zealots in 66 revolt against the Romans, the Jewish zealots, and also in the Bar Kokhba in 132 used these tunnels to hide from. You see the steps off to the left there, and the roof collapsed, and you have a tree now growing out of it. Now we have down the hill from these cisterns, we have a Byzantine church. Here you see this rounded area, that's called an asp. And the earlier Byzantine churches had one asp, and then later on they had 3 asps. So we kind of figure this between the 4th and 6th century AD. You have beautiful mosaics of birds and different plants. It could have possibly been the seat of a bishop. We're not sure about that. These are some copper coins that were found in the area, Greek, made out of copper. You have a profile of a ruler, a governor, or maybe a king on one side, stamped into the copper. On the opposite side, you usually would have, here this guy has a crown, looks to me like a crown or a garland. And on the opposite side, you have stamped a person sitting or standing. These are the Tashi, the goddess of the city, sometimes standing Apollo, sometimes, and they symbolize wealth to the city. And sometimes they have other things like the cornucopia or an anchor. Now, this is a nature reserve where this ancient tell is. And here we have cyclamen. They bloom in December through January. And then we have the red anemones. They're usually late February, March. This was filmed in February, early February, so they're blooming early. So this whole field would be filled with red flowers and also yellow mustard. In May, the red poppies bloom, but these are the anemones. And here we have an asphodelus. This is in Greek mythology, dealing with the underworld in Homer's. And then we have the almond trees. They bloom in January and February. So this is the end of our segment on the ancient city of Midrash and also pyramids. This is Peter Posen for In Between.